Okay. Hello. Okay, and my name's Trev, and I'm just going to do a little video on the basics of chess. This is going to go right from the beginner, so for someone who's never played chess before at all. So if you already play chess, you might want to wait 5 minutes and come back, because the beginning bit's going to be quite boring for you. But I thought I'd just take it from the beginner level, and then we might do a little bit on sort of strategy and tactics or whatever a bit later. But this was inspired by my sister, who's just learning how to play chess, and I think it's a really great game to be learning. And if you've got more time and you want something that's a bit more challenging than a kind of a basic game. So hopefully you can see this board. Okay, so first of all, I'll just go over the pieces, and I know that a lot of you will know about chess, but some of you have maybe never been exposed to chess. They do chess clubs at school, and I know it's a big thing, and some people make a living from teaching chess. I met someone the other day whose husband teaches chess in school. That's all he does. He teaches chess and makes a living from it. But it's a really deep game, a really good strategy game, really good for your mind, thinking ahead what's going to happen. And obviously sort of you're playing against someone, but I'm just going to show you sort of the kind of the basic kind of moves, if you like. So let's go over the pieces first of all. So okay, I've got my other camera so I can kind of show you. It's quite cool, isn't it? So looking from a kind of chess eye perspective. Right, so you've got along the front sort of are these pawns. Okay, so all of these are my pieces, the white ones, and my opponent's pieces are over there. They're kind of gold in this case, but normally they're black. So black and white. I don't want to be controversial, but yeah. So we've got a fight of two different teams, if you like. So silver and gold, which I quite like today. Okay, so we've got yeah, our pawns at the front. Our pawn can move one pace and then can move another pace, and then it can move another, and then another, and it kind of gradually moves. That's all it can kind of do. Apart from the first time it moves, it can actually move two places. Okay, so you've got a pawn can move two places, and then it has to move one, and has to move one. How it takes another piece is a diagonal. Okay, so if there was, let's just say the pieces have kind of moved up a bit like this, this pawn could take like that. Okay, so that's the pawn. I'm not sure how fast to go actually. This is a little bit more complicated than the juggling, but for me. Okay, so pawns go like that. So often in a game of chess, you might see the pawns coming out, and then it's the gold's turn, and then it's the silver's turn. So remember, I can go two places in my first move, and then it's gold's turn, sort of like that. And you might see this sort of thing happening at the beginning of a game of chess. So the pawns kind of come out until someone breaks the defense, and then it might open a bit more of the game out. Okay, so that's the pawn. Okay, right. So let's see if we can have a look through the kind of the higher value pieces at the back. Okay, so we've got the castle. So the castle, if the castle had a bit of space, in fact, let's bring the castle out to the middle of the board. Okay, so the castle can, or the rook can move in a straight line as many places as it likes. So it can move like that. So it's quite a powerful piece. In fact, I would say that was the second most powerful piece. It's kind of hidden, so it's kind of protected by these pawns at the front. Okay, so to get it out will take a while. Okay, so you might do something like that to get it out, or it might be that this all comes up and then it comes out. So the rook or the castle. Next to that is the knight. Okay, so a horse. Okay, and this again, I'll bring it out to the middle just to show you what it does. So the horse can move forward two spaces and across one, so it's a bit like an L shape. So that could be like that, or it could be like that, or it could be like that, or it could be like that. The really important thing about the knight, if you can see that, is that it can jump. So just supposing we have all our pawns have come out like they do. Okay, so it can jump. Let's have that pawn there. It could jump over that pawn and take like that. Okay, so that's quite a superpower, really. The fact it can jump. It can also jump over its own piece. So I could jump to there, for example. So it's got a special power that none of the other pieces have. Okay, so that's quite useful. Okay, right. Next, we've got the bishop. Okay, so the bishop looks a bit like a big pawn, really, but the bishop goes diagonally. Again, let's bring it out to the middle. So if you can see, it's on a black square, so it's only going to really go onto other black squares, and it can move as far as it likes, as long as it's diagonal. So it could go and take that, for example. Okay, so diagonal. It's not quite as powerful as the rook, because the rook is kind of covering a space. If you can see, you can't kind of get past. It can kind of block you in quite nicely, a rook. Whereas a bishop, you can kind of go past it sort of diagonally with yeah. So it's not quite as powerful as you think, even though it can sort of do a similar function, which is goes as far as it can in sort of both directions. Okay, the queen. This is your most powerful piece. The queen is kind of a combination of the bishop and the rook. Okay, so this can go up and down, or left and right, or diagonal. And the queen is really valuable. So it's a really powerful piece that will probably kind of win or lose you the game. Certainly when someone captures the other person's queen, it's almost certainly game over in a lot of games. Yeah, the queen can get like that. It can get diagonally. It's a very powerful piece. Okay, one more piece, and then I'll check if anyone's written any comments like "go slower" or "we can't hear you" or anything like that. But the king. Okay, and I possibly could have started with the king, but the king is actually the piece that the game revolves around. So all of these, the army, if you like, is defending the king. So it's a little bit traditional or old-fashioned, if you like. So the queen has lots and lots of kind of moves that she can do, but ultimately her role, and all of these, the bishop and the knight and the rook and all of the pawns, is to protect the king. Okay, so you have you could have lots of kind of moved pieces, but the idea is that the king is safe, and the king can only move one place. So it's a bit kind of, I always thought of the king as being quite kind of big and stupid and fat, perhaps, because it's just like sat in an armchair. It can only move one place, but it does have power, and it's what the game revolves around. So keeping the king safe is the aim. There's another important thing about the king, which is that if the king is kind of in check, so the idea of just supposing this queen has come to here, let's say, and is threatening the king, then the king has to move out of check. And if the king is completely trapped, how can we put this up? Is that completely trapped? This is where I actually should have prepared a bit better. But yeah. So just supposing it's like this. Okay, so we've got the king trapped by the queen, and it can't take the queen because it's covered. So it can't move. That's called checkmate. And that's the end of the game. Okay, I'm just going to check if anybody's written any comments like they can't hear me or such like, and then I'll go over that a little bit more. Cool. Can you play Friends online? You can certainly, there's something called chess.com, which probably has lots of tutorials which are far more efficient than this, in fact. And you can play online. I have been playing, another thing that inspired me to sort of like do a little video of it, is you can write down the bottom, if you can see that, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H along the bottom, and then up the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which gives you the coordinates. So you could, for example, go D2 to D4, like that, or whatever. So you can do it by text message. And I've played a few games by text or WhatsApp message, and I've just done a couple of games on chess.com, which is really simple and free to use. But this is just a kind of a more personal, I guess, introduction to what the pieces do and a little bit of strategy. So I hope I haven't whizzed too fast or been too slow about the pieces. Let me just see a sec. Right, so if I go over, yeah, maybe I'll just keep that still. So look at the main thing. So yeah, pawns can move up one place or two places, and they take diagonally. Okay, so the queen, our most powerful piece, can go out sort of diagonally like that, but it can also go up or down or left and right. The knight can jump, so it does like an L shape, 2 and then 1, or 1 and then 2, like that, so it can jump around. The bishop can kind of just do diagonal, so you have one on the white blocks and one on the black blocks. Okay, the king only moves one place, so it's quite slow. It would take you a long time to get for the king to get anywhere, and the castle or the rook can go as many places up and down like that. I just want to, oh, if I do that. So I just want to teach you a couple of more advanced moves that might crop up. Still kind of, we're talking beginner chess, but moves that might come up. And this is called castling. So if you have not moved your king, so just supposing all of the pieces have come out like they have, I have the ability to castle one way or the other way, which is basically where the king moves two places and the castle jumps like that. Okay, and you could do it that way, or you could do it this way. Okay, that can only be done if the king has not moved at all. Okay, and also there's another thing. If just supposing, if I just clear some of these pieces out of the way, but just supposing there is a check, kind of, if I was to move my king, I'd be in check by the queen. Hopefully you can see that. Okay, so if I was to go through check, then I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be allowed to do that. Okay, so jumping through check isn't allowed, but that's certainly probably enough to get you started. But that's quite a useful kind of special move, if you like, because it can kind of put your king nicely in a kind of little cluster at the side, sort of protected. Okay, let's set up the pieces again. So, right, and there we are. Any other things? Oh yes, the pawn. Well, there are two things. This is a little bit more advanced again, but it might come up. So it's another rule. So just supposing we get all our pawns kind of going, and we have a thing a bit like, maybe like this. So the pawns have all advanced. Oops, that wasn't very good. No, let's put this pawn's advanced like that to there. Okay, so we have pawns here. If this pawn goes one place forward, then obviously this pawn can take it. Okay. If this pawn uses its first special move to go two places, so it jumps over the place where it could take, then this person can actually take it like that. And that's a very kind of special move, if you like, en passant. So if you've gone, jumped over the place where you can take it, that's a bit more advanced. Again, it might come up, but the chances of that coming up is quite slim, certainly in your first kind of chunk of games. Okay, so yeah, in terms of how you kind of get into your first games of chess, there's quite a lot of strategy where you're kind of thinking 1 or 2 moves ahead. So just first of all, you can play chess just by sort of moving all of your legal moves, and something like chess.com or another game of chess will probably show you where you can move. So if you click on the knight, it'll tell you could move there or there, for example. And if you're in check, it will tell you. But if we play a little game by ourselves, just to show you what might happen. So I might, for example, put that pawn 2 places up because I want to advance it quite a lot. And it also enables these 2 pieces to come out potentially. And the gold player might do the same. Okay, so it might do, okay, I'm going to do that as well. And now I could actually take that piece, or I could go past it. I think I'll take it. And then this person might go like that. Okay, I'm not going to play a whole game by myself. I'm just going to give you some ideas. So this person's just gone up there. Okay, so my aim would be to try and advance to maybe say, oh, that's threatened, so maybe I'll cover it. I'll put another one up there to kind of protect it. And then this person might think, oh, well, I'm not going to take that now because then I'll get taken back, so I'll just advance a bit more. So we're looking to basically advance. So I'm not going to think too hard. I'm just going to sort of move the pieces around a little bit. So that pawn might come up. That person might think the same thing, might think, oh, I'm going to cover that pawn. Okay, now I might be thinking, oh, okay, I want to get some of my bigger pieces out to kind of threaten a bit more of the ground. And often what we're aiming for is to sort of threaten the middle of the board because that's kind of where the action is. So if we go kind of towards the edges, that's kind of closing us off. So there's quite a lot of kind of strategy in terms of sort of development of the pieces. If you're going sort of over, so for example, if this piece goes, actually I'll do it this side because that's easier to see. So this knight, if it goes there, it can only really attack sort of one square or go back because it can't go there. Well, it could go there, but it's not as strong perhaps as going here, because here it can attack there or there, it can go there, can't go there, but it can go there. So that's 1, 2, 3 places, and it's also perhaps freeing this up, this castle. Rook. Sorry, they've got 2 names. The horsey. Yeah, but so what you're looking for in each move, rather than thinking, oh, how am I going to get the king in checkmate or how am I going to capture the queen, which are both really big goals, is thinking, how am I going to develop a piece to access more squares? So this person's thinking the same. So you might find that quite a lot of the moves are sort of done in symmetry. So you've got the other person sort of replying with a similar move to what you've done. Okay, and it might be that if your king is quite exposed, it might be that your queen comes here, for example, to protect it. It might be like it's kind of shielding it, which is another strategy. So this person might go like that. Oh, I'm going to threaten the queen. Okay, so another thing that a lot of beginners might do is, like I've just done there with this gold player, is I've moved diagonally, I've threatened the queen, which is great, but I've not thought about protecting myself. So this bishop is now going to get captured by the queen. And I've thought about it, I've thought, is anything going to get me? I don't think so. So I've thought like 1 move ahead, and as you develop as a player, you're thinking 1 move ahead and then maybe 2 moves ahead. if you're thinking 3 moves ahead, then I think you're getting to intermediate sort of advanced players, and as you might have seen, people on chess sort of championships are thinking, you know, 4 or 5 or more possibly moves ahead, which becomes very complicated in terms of the permutations and how many sort of different kind of ways the game can play. So you're thinking of risk and you're thinking of protecting the king. Anything else I can say rather than just sort of like letting you all get on and play? It'd be great if anyone had beginner questions. I possibly should have done this as a Zoom, but I haven't really prepared it. This was literally just an hour ago, and my sister was saying, could you give me some tips? So I might make another video of this if it proves popular, but I don't know how interesting chess is anymore. Sadly, I think chess is brilliant. I think chess is absolutely a brilliant game. It does take a bit of working out. You have to kind of put some time into learning it. What else could I say about it? Yeah, I mean, some common openings would be to get sort of these middle pieces out. Sometimes there's an element of getting these ones out. You don't normally see sort of like, I don't know, that as an opening. And I was playing, who was I playing the other day? David. I'm sure he won't mind me saying, but we had a start where we had a couple of things like this, and then maybe he took something like that, and I got my queen out, and he said that was a bad move because getting your queen out quite early is exposing it a bit. So then he was sort of chasing my queen, and I was moving it, and he was chasing it, and then I ended up with something, you know, a bit like this. And if I look at the white position, I'm very kind of defended, and the black or gold side has got all of its pieces all nicely developed, so it's far stronger. So this strategy of keeping your queen back is something that is useful, I think. Don't expose your queen. And in terms of the value of the pieces, so again, there is quite a lot of I don't know if I've really thought about it before in terms of tribe and in terms of army and in terms of all these things, but the pawn has perhaps, I don't know, got I should look this up as well, but maybe the value of kind of 1, or it's the weakest piece, and possibly say these have a higher value, maybe 2 or 3, the bishop and the knight, and then the rook has the value of kind of 4 or something. And then maybe the queen has the value of say 5, something like that. So you could say if you were to exchange a queen for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pawns, then it's about equal. So I've not got that set up very well, have I? Oops. There we go. Whoop. So that's another way you can kind of play before you're looking for strategy. So in terms of exchanges, obviously it's easy to think of it if it's like for like. Sorry. Oh yeah, another thing when you're setting up, the queen goes on her own colour. So the queen would go on the white if it's white, and the black if it's black. Okay, so if just supposing we're going up here and whatever, such like that. Pawn for a pawn, that's fairly easy, straightforward. 1 point, 1 point, and you can think, oh yeah, well maybe I'll get the pawn, but I'll be got back, but it's okay. Another equal exchange might be a bishop for a knight. So if a knight comes, just trying to get it into real play, how does it go? I guess it doesn't really matter about, again, they're the wrong way around, sorry. So just supposing it's like that, there we go. So we've got a bishop and a knight, and they are equal value too. So if I was to think, okay, I'm going to get that knight, but he's going to get me back, or she's going to get me back, that's okay. because they're kind of equal in value. And in terms of just a lot of people that have played chess for a long time, you can kind of trust that that they are the same value. So if you've kind of lost those together, we're still equal in terms of the amount of pieces that have been captured. They're captured by my plant. Oh, look at them off the board. Yeah. So there are other. I wouldn't know more precisely, but if I just take the kind of the formula that I just said, so this might be equivalent. So a castle or rook might be equivalent to what did I say? It was 3, 4, something like that. So if it was kind of like 3, 4, and if I got that, again, that's about equal. And a queen, like we say, was 5. So yeah, it seems it's only a rough guide, but a castle and a pawn 5, or maybe even a 2 bishops, for example. But that's a bit. 2 bishops is probably worth a bit more than a queen, but it depends actually. But like that. Okay. Hopefully that's making sense. Okay, and so let's just have a little look at, if I just clear some pieces away. Again, this is strategy. Whew, I should really have thought this through, so I'm not doing my bestest video, but never mind. Which is how to put the king in checkmate, which is really tricky, I think. So if you kind of put the king into the line of fire, like with this queen, check, and then this person's got to move. So check, they've got to move. So if I clear a few pieces away, so just supposing the king was there, so check, oh no, got to move. So maybe this person could move to there, check. And then if you're a better chess player than me, this is probably really frustrating for you. Like, why is he not playing very well? But if it inspires you to get your chess set out, that's my aim. Okay, so and then check. So I can only move. So if the king can only move like in one place, so he can only move there, and then checkmate. So checkmate is where this king cannot move to any place. So a good checkmate might be where you use your queen and another piece, perhaps. So it could be the queen and the knight, and it might be the case that the queen goes there, and then I move for whatever reason, and then check. That's not quite checkmate. Moving to the corner, checkmate. So using the queen and another piece to kind of cover it, so because I can't take it. If you were to just do it, again, the king can take things. The king can take, it can move into its one place. And also if you get to a position where you've just got a king and maybe one pawn, oh, this is another kind of thing that's quite important. These pawns can then become quite important because the pawn could go, for example, check, and then this person, he or she or they could not take it because it's protected. So they'd have to move away. And if you get a pawn all the way to the other side, you can transform that pawn into a piece that's been captured. And in fact, you could actually turn it into a second queen, which is a little bit strange. But I like to see that you're reclaiming a piece that's been captured, really. But so I could transform that pawn, if it gets all the way to the other side without being captured, to, say, a queen, which is a really valuable thing. And a lot of games where you're playing against someone that's of a similar ability boil down to the number of pawns. So although the pawns are a bit deceptive, that they're only worth 1 point, they're not really seen as that important. When it comes down to it, the pawns are really important and what make or break the game. I'll just show you how to set up, because I had my board set up not very well before. So we have a line of pawns, and then we have the queen on her own colour and the king next to it. We have our castles either side, and then we have the kind of the knights, horsey, and the bishops. Okay, so let's do it over the other side of the table. Okay, and we have a line of pawns which are protecting the bigger pieces, and the queen goes on her own colour, and then we've got the castles or rooks, we've got the knights go next to it, and we've got the bishops next to that. And the white, again, this is convention, but you know, don't don't get into political about chess. Just it's just the way it is. But the white always starts. So you know, there are a few things that could be up for debate. Really, the queen and the king's roles, white and black, and the white starting. But the white is dominant, and the black having to push against it. There's quite a lot of things which I hadn't really thought through on this video, but it's been fun sharing it. But yeah, conventionally the white always will start. Don't play with that. It's just the way it is. But what you might do is you have a pawn of each colour and sort of shuffle them and then put them behind your back, and kind of you would go, for example, yeah, which hand do you want? And then you are black. So that's the way you'd kind of decide the first game who goes first. But the person who's first will always be white. So you would perhaps turn the board or swap places. Or online, it's all clicking. So I hope that was in some way useful or interesting. I'm going to stop there, but do have a look at chess.com, and I hope you get inspired to give chess a go if you've never played it. And there are other resources, and I'm sure far better videos on how to play chess. So don't just take my video. And okay, have fun. Thank you.